Here we are with another episode of the Live Your Dreams podcast. I'm very excited to be here. My name is Joe Gawalis, alongside my co-host, Mr. Chris Victor.
Chris Victor.
So how you doing today, Chris?
I'm excellent. I mean, what an amazing day. We went to New York. Strikes going on.
Everything is happening, right?
Yes,
Yeah, we did have a very exciting day this week. We just came back from GoodDay Street Talk with our good friend Antwan Lewis, who was the host of that show. We had the privilege of being on there with some other great guests, speaking about the strike and everything going on and how it impacts especially independent filmmakers. So Chris and I were brought on to discuss how the strike in the WGA and SGA is impacting independent filmmakers and kind of the future of the business from our perspective. How'd you feel that they went over there and those questions he was asking?
I think they were right on. I mean, basically, there's a lot of confusion about what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, was it the writers' strike, the SAG strike? You know, what's really going on? So the writers did strike first. SAG now followed in suit. And we're just holding out, I guess, to see, you know, if we're going to get our needs met.
No, absolutely. And for a lot of people that don't know, the Screen Actors Guild, a lot of people look at what we do as the one percenters of the business. You know, your Tom Cruise, your Tom Hanks, Margot Robbie, these people that are making a great amount of money for a very well-deserved amount of money for the value they bring to the product. But many of us actors are just very minimally making a living, if even that.
Oh, sure.
Most members of the guild, I think it was close to 87% of members make under $25,000.
Yeah, they're not even meeting the $26,000 health requirement.
That's right. And we have a health requirement in our union to make $26,000 working as an actor to qualify for health insurance, which is tough to do. People don't realize. I mean, if you're doing a guest star, I mean, a lot of actors are, you know, eking out jobs doing co-stars. And a co-star, you're making about $800 for the day. I mean, that's a great amount of money for the day.
Yeah, sure.
But if you think about it, people say, wow, you're making $800 a day. You might do that 2 or 3 times a year. That's very tough. I mean, that's a very hard way to make a living. A lot of people that are qualified for health care are doing background work, which is another noble way to make a living.
Sure.
And they make about $197 a day, something like that.
It's $187 right now.
187.
Actually, yeah.
So that's a lot of work. They're the first one's in, the last one's out. And Jaylee was going a lot is to talk with AI.
Yes.
Replacing and you know, a lot of the problems don't just have to do with people again like Tom Hanks, the hardworking background actors being replaced by artificial intelligence. You know, what is your opinion about that?
Well, my opinion is actually there was a film a little while ago where they put us in a cage and they had I don't know how many cameras, a lot of cameras that it took a 360 image of you to utilize in the film. But if the contract doesn't say that they could only use it in that film and they could use it in the perpetuity you're signing off to that, you're not getting paid for those future projects that they use in your image on. They had this steel cage kind of that with cameras all around, 360-degree pictures of every background player that was on the project. And they mentioned that they would be using it in the film in order to get different versions, different angles of the actor. But if you sign off to something that it's not only on that film and you're not reading the contract, you may be signing off to your image being used in perpetuity for the rest of your life and not getting paid for it.
Yes, no, that is a major problem. I think one thing that they have to make sure, and this should be in every SAG contract with every background player, principal player, it doesn't matter who you are on an independent film, do not sign paperwork outside of your SAG paperwork on set, unless you're an attorney. And even then, you may want to have another entertainment attorney looking at it and have a full understanding of what you're signing. You never sign anything because a lot of times people are going to make you sign something. Not that look, that's the terms you're agreeing to.
Yeah.
So you might not know what you're actually agreeing to. It's not that the terms from their perspective are bad, but you know, to them, they want to get the best bang out of the dollar.
Well, they're entitled to ask for something.
They're entitled to ask for something. You don't have to give it to them. So you should definitely always read something. Don't sign something on set outside of your SAG paperwork because you're not a professional attorney and an entertainment attorney on top of that. You shouldn't be trying to figure that stuff out. But, you know, I think what SAG should do during this strike, and I would say about the AI replacing actors, especially, let's say, background players, co-stars, is SAG should try to attempt to raise the number of required background players.
Yes.
Now, I appreciate everybody on a set from union to non-union, but, you know, SAG is here to look out for their members.
Yes.
So I would say if SAG made sure that there was a set number of background players, not 10 or 20, but really raise that number to a point of, okay, if you need 100 people, well, then 75 of them have to be SAG, and you can use the other 25 as AI non-union, make your non-union talent replace. Now, that's fine because the cost is being offset by not having a non-union actor. Now, it's not good for the non-union actor, but again, this is a SAG issue right now.
Well, just to be clear, it's kind of the opposite right now. It's 25 SAG to 75 non-union. So And when the non-union rate is $165 and unions only getting paid $187, they don't get the benefits of SEG and the overtime and things like that. But it's still quite amount of money they could save by not using non-union actors. At the same time, giving non-union actors the what would it be?
Incentive.
The incentive to strive for more, to get into the union, so you can get paid and compensated fairly by the union.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And there's ways that it can work out for everybody. But, we were talking with some other people earlier about artificial intelligence. And it is, it seems like we have to think about it this way. I know it's scary and people are very scared of the unknown, but it is a tool at this point. Much like people were nervous when the computers came out or when the internet started. People did not like the whole .com thing for quite a long time. But like any tool, it's going to be the pioneers when it's the scariest, right?
Yes.
Or any new technology, any new thing in life is the beginning of something. So right now, AI is like the Wild West, kind of like the streaming business. What people have to do is figure out a way to use that tool in a safe way where it's not taking away paying jobs for anybody. And take, for example, for a writer, if you're writing an outline of your own script and you don't have an assistant and you need something to give you an outline and organize your work, well, that's a tool that can quickly save you time to do it. You should not replace the writer's assistant who would normally be doing that. So again, it could be a tool to enhance work, not to take away jobs. That's the way I see the technology.
I feel the same way. But, people are worried about AI taking over. There's references to Terminator, and they warned us back then. I mean, they warned us back then, and the people that didn't use the home computer, let's say, were they had no choice but to learn to use it, because everyone is. And then even for the people that didn't get a chance to learn the home computer, they made it a computer in your pocket in a phone. So now everyone, people, my parents even use a smartphone these days. So it's kind of eventually you're going to have to use the technology because it helps, it benefits you. It's just not used the wrong way. It's used as a tool. And I don't think the way the SAG strike is right now, and that we're fighting for the amount of money getting paid for both as actors, as producers, to get our content paid for that we create, that won't even be an issue. They're worried about that, the AI taking over. The AI right now is not the issue. That's like a smoke and mirror thing as far as I'm concerned. There's bigger issues about getting paid fairly for the creative work that we do.
No, you're absolutely right. Because right now, and again, we're very thankful for all these streaming platforms, Tubi, Amazon Prime. These are great places to showcase our work as independent filmmakers. But right now, especially on AdVod, we're getting, and this is how most independent content is actually consumed. So people may say, well, don't go to AdVod, try to sell your work out there. Unfortunately, no one's going to be paying $20 full price for a film that you and I produce when they can go see Barbie or Oppenheimer.
Exactly.
And again, our film doesn't have the value of that. So they shouldn't be paying $20 for our product. It would either be at a much discounted rate or they'd prefer to see independent films, on an AdVod service like Tubi. But if we're not making any money, and let's say a product costs arbitrarily just $500,000, and if you're not making anywhere near enough to recoup, no matter how good you do on AdVod, the producers have no choice. The independent producers, not the studio producers, the filmmakers, we'll call them, have no point but to stop making films because they can't afford to do it. You're not going to make a product at a loss. And the scary thing is, if the independent filmmaker gets taken out of the game, what happens to the up-and-coming actor? The up-and-coming actor rarely has an opportunity to showcase their work outside of potentially a co-star role where they say, how may I help you today, sir, or a background player. Most of the time, you never get more than that until you showcase your work in an independent film that you could be a lead or a huge supporting role. If the opportunity to do these lower budget indies where you could be the lead disappear, how is the up-and-coming actor ever going to get a chance to break out?
It's a catch-22.
Really, it is.
You need work to get work. So if I don't have some dialogue in an independent film that I could put on my reel to showcase and get more work from the networks, from casting, then there's no one's ever going to see me. I don't exist.
Yeah.
So you're taking away a platform that actors have used throughout the years to get known, to get seen, and to move up the level.
This is kind of a guessing question, or I will say just maybe hypothetical. What do you think about the strike? How long? What do you think we're going to be? We're in for a long haul? We're in for a short journey? Where do you see us going?
I would say for it to be effective, even though I'd rather it end tomorrow and we could work again, but I'm also happy that the WGA started this because it's very necessary to address this issue. I say we go until at least the fall.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think it needs to be, look, it's very difficult to assemble multiple unions striking in solidarity. It needs to go on until we get what is asked for. And again, look, any good negotiation, there's compromise, right? So I'm not saying for the actors or writers to be brats and hold out until they get everything they want. That's not fair to anybody, and no working compromise ever works like that. But there should be, again, fair wages, AI control, and an understanding of residuals to streamers. But more importantly, the streamers really, what the unions need to focus on is getting the streamers to bend on how much they're paying. Because if we get residuals of 0.003 cents, it doesn't matter how many residual checks we get, we're not going to make anything. So if there's nothing getting paid out, again, that's the bottom line issue right now.
Yeah.
Where Tubi is also very generous, and so is YouTube. But the content of Tubi basically seems like they follow the YouTube model.
Okay.
Which YouTube was they monetized.
Sure.
A lot of filmmakers, a lot of content creators made a lot of money on there. Brilliant people, and that's a different medium than filmmaking. It's a brilliant medium. These people are so creative and so intelligent, and have huge fans. But films cost a lot of money per film. I mean, you're looking at a minimal $250,000
and a minimum of a year turnaround.
Yeah, and to really make a living, let's not even say make a living. If you want everybody on the crew to be paid, the cast to be paid, you need about $250,000 minimum for that. And that's a lot of money. As easier said than done to raise that, and no one is even getting rich off that. And that means people are probably getting a day rate of about $200, $250 max on that, the amount of people that are needed for something like that. So, it's scary, and that's a lot of money to recoup if you're only making less than pennies per view.
And if it was consistent work, I mean, because then if you film the movie in a month or so, right, or less, and then you take a year to turn it out. So all the rest of the time, where's that money coming from?
Oh, yeah.
Those days of unemployment. I also, with regard to this new and, they keep mentioning informed consent.
Yes.
But there's also, on the other hand, casting, it's a yes game. It's a yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Okay? Yes, I want the job, right? Everyone's vying for this job. There's only a few jobs out there. If you say no, they may not hire you. This is a concern. So informed consent, that's fantastic. They inform me. I say I don't want my image reproduced, and they're going to go next and hire the next guy. That's a big problem.
You actually have an amazing point there, because you're right. And let's say that's not true, right? And the company say they're not going to do that. It's still implanted in people's brains. If I say, human beings are taught not to say no, even as children. It's one of the most difficult words for somebody to say. And I think a lot of problems, especially in the independent film world, it's a lot of disagreements on sets and things that go wrong because people don't say the word no up front. Yeah. And everybody has to learn from that. I had to learn from that. I'm sure you had to learn from that. You want to please everybody, and you think that's the way to keep moving forward. So you say yes to everything without really meaning the yes or understanding what that yes means. And it's the same thing. They're going to say, well, I don't want to say no because I'm not going to get hired. So they're going to feel like they're getting, kind of pigeonholed in the consenting with this AI form. I don't think anything should be signed with AI. Everything should go through the union.
Yes.
The actor should not be making any decision.
Not on set on the day.
No, exactly. An actor cannot. And what if the decision comes down to, I have to pay my rent tomorrow, or my family can't eat tomorrow? Well, then someone's going to consent to a form they don't want to fill out because they need that paycheck.
Yes.
It needs to be a negotiation by the union. And if you are going to consent to something like that, there needs to be some kind of massive pay bump. You're getting used in perpetuity.
I know.
What's your buyout, like a commercial buyout?
Exactly.
Are you getting bought out? What is the buyout rate you're going to get paid for? The same thing that models do a lot. Well, we're going to use you on these billboards. We're going to use you here, and you're going to sign a buyout, and you're going to get bought out for X amount of years. AI just need to be looked at the same way. Exactly. It's not much different than when you would give your consent to be, a model on a billboard, and then all of a sudden you find yourself on a slot machine or a milk carton or whatever they do with pictures. They send them all over the place. So I think we need to make sure that it's worked almost the same way and just make those same laws.
It happened to a friend of mine years ago. He did something for a magazine. Years later, I saw him on a can of coffee.
There you go. Right.
Same image.
Same image.
He looked at his contract. He didn't have any rights.
Yeah.
But that's the one he signed. So you can't be signing things on set in the last hour. You need to have this maybe before you show up to set so you make an informed decision.
Yes.
To do or to not do it.
No, you're absolutely right. And a lot of people don't realize, too, that production is hectic. So a lot of times what happens is, why didn't you get the form before? I think you should always get the form before. But especially if you're working on an independent film, they don't have entire teams to settle this stuff. So they run late the night prior. Now everybody's tired. They're offloading footage. You're getting organized for the next day. They forget to send out the paperwork.
Yeah.
Now it's there. So there's so many scenarios that can go wrong. Everything should be taken care of at the contract negotiation time when it comes to consent. Not the day before, not on set. It needs to be done by the union. The union should take care of that. It should be in our contracts, the master contract, where it's just taken care of. Where we don't have to even think about it. You know, when you show up to set and you're a co-star or a guest star in something, you already know what you're getting paid.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this brings me to being on the show earlier today. When he asked me about being a producer and talking to our investors.
Yeah.
And we had to honestly answer, and both our investors as well as on the show, that if there's no money to be made, we can't promise you anything.
Yeah, 100%.
This has to be something that you're really into, and you can either use the write-off or something, a passion project that maybe you want to fund. But otherwise, if there's no return in money, how can we go to investors and talk to them about investing in a product which is not going to have the return?
Oh, yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And it's very scary right now. There's almost a guarantee that film investment right now, you may not, almost guaranteed you're not going to see your money back, at least for quite a long time. There's even a low budget, again, it depends on what you're doing. The low budget range, if you're just going to AdVod, you're not going to recoup $250,000 in the first few months. That's not going to happen. Yeah. I mean, you can maybe recoup $100,000 if you do good, but now you're looking at, that's millions of views. People don't realize that requires millions of views. So if you are a filmmaker or a content creator that already has your own brand and you have a following, maybe you could. But if you're starting from scratch, never made a movie, zero social media presence, no influencers on your movie, and you're going in with a bunch of new, hungry people, you are not going to make that back. And you will build your brand, and you could eventually make that back, but that could take years of building a brand, because now you're not only just making a movie, you're building a brand. So essentially you have to think of your career and not just as a movie anymore. You have to build your brand continuously. So if you make one product, well, you already have a million eyes, and that carries over into the next, into the next, into the next. If you just promote a movie, once the movie's done, those fans go away.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, you have to think of your whole career now as.
But how many people do you have in that situation? There's a handful of people that can do that. What you're saying, all the rest of the upcoming aspiring filmmakers, how are they going to be able to even make a film without the budget there, without the distribution paying them?
If the money's not going to be there, it's going to be very difficult. Again, there's always micro budgets and things, but that's something, a passion project. Aspiring filmmakers or even established filmmakers with passion projects, yes, you can do things like that. But I'm talking about sustaining a living in the industry. It's almost impossible right now to do.
You have independent filmmakers, right? They're producing content that are well-written stories that are being told, news stories that are out there, right? Unlike a lot of big production companies are making these 80s remakes. It's like the safe bet where they know they can make money on this, but where's the new content for the viewer? It's kind of getting a little stale, I think.
Look, they don't want to take a gamble because I guess they know too. The market is so volatile right now, and the option for the entertainment dollar is all over the place. I mean, look at brilliant content creators out there, and you can turn on YouTube right now and watch some really entertaining material, and it's there, and it's available, and it's free. And then you go and you can look at Tubi, they got bought out, and all these streamers that are AdVod are being bought out. So you have these content libraries that you can access for free now. So really, to compete and to put money into something that's not a guarantee, nobody wants to take that chance right now, which goes to think like, well, if the studios aren't doing it and aren't making these great independents, they're not taking a risk. It's because not that no one's watching, but it's hard to make money on that. Now, the great independents, the cream will always rise to the top, and I think you should always work with artistic integrity.
Sure.
But it's very hard to toe the line, especially both of us. As filmmakers, you want to think as artists with artistic integrity, and we want to make sure that the art is always going to move forward. But then when we're working on the financial side, it's okay. This is now
we got to make sense.
It's hard to toe the line, and it is very difficult, especially when you're on a project, which very often on an independent film, you have to wear multiple hats, and it's not because you want to wear multiple hats. You have no choice but to wear multiple hats, because there's many times you have to produce a film, direct a film, then all of a sudden you're stuck in an editing room, then you're helping with marketing. You don't want to do all these things. It's the fact that there's no one else to do them, and a lot of times what happens, independent films do not have enough money. Most independent films run out. I mean, we're very lucky. We budgeted our last indie, and we actually have a marketing budget that actually we went we came in under budget, so we had more
which
marketing.
was nice.
But that's very rare. Most of the time, independent films are running out of money.
Yeah, like we're finishing funds and everything.
With everything. And so now when it gets to the later stages, the few producers that care about the project are stuck doing everything because there's nobody else to do it.
Yeah,
you can't afford to go hire a marketing company for $30,000 or an editor for $30,000. I mean, these things are expensive. And if you don't have the money, you don't have the money.
I know. I mean, it's kind of I really don't know what the state of the independent film world is right now. It's not looking too good.
It's scary.
It's very scary.
It's very scary. And again, there's always going to be certain companies and brilliant companies, your A24s, and those are the high-level independent films. They are great, and these are brilliant people. But I was talking about the people like us that are climbing the ranks, and I guess our company would be like that first entry point into like budgeted movies.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, we're not A24.
No.
But we're certainly not micro budget films either. So, these independent producers and production companies that are making films in that $250,000 to $1 million range, up and down in that realm, that's where you get your experience to move forward and continue working as a director or a writer or an editor or a camera operator, where you hope to get hired on these larger productions, or you form a company that continues to make those. But if everybody in our category goes out of business,
well, we keep talking and addressing independent films and even feature films, but even just being on the TV show earlier, even the TV stations, they're kind of also talking about where's the content. If nothing's being filmed, there's a writer's strike and SAG strike, and there won't be anything this fall to view.
No, you're right, and this is happening everywhere. Network lose.
Network.
These people don't realize too. Technology affects everybody, and it's not just AI. Many camera operators there were replaced by robotic cameras. This is way before AI started. This is, you program it. Maybe it is a form of AI, I'm guessing, potentially, but this is not a new thing. They've been replacing camera operators, and they basically have one guy in
that camera was moving around like your Roomba cleans your house.
Yeah, right. No,
it's programmed.
Yeah, it's programming. Yeah. So, everybody's being affected. And it goes to the point, is everybody going to start losing their jobs? Because you can make content for cheaper now, and people can watch things, God bless, on the places like YouTube, great channels to get things out on. But what happens to the larger shows is you got to adapt. I almost say it's sad that our business, filmmaking, almost feels like I would call it like legacy media.
Yeah.
Like it's becoming older in a way of almost becoming antiquated. And not that filmmaking will ever be antiquated, because I love filmmaking and I love making films. But from a financial perspective, it's becoming very scary.
You mentioned business too, and I'm sure everyone out there can relate to in their own business how there's been downsizing and people doing the work of two people, where years ago they had two people, and now one person does the more, not for much more money, if even more money, maybe for the same salary, they're doing twice the work. So this is kind of a global problem. If technology is removing people, that's not good. If technology is assisting people, that's one thing. We don't want it to replace us. So I understand the fear for AI, but we won't even get to that fear yet if we don't address this one right now with regards to getting paid paid for our efforts.
No, you're absolutely right, and you're right about everything you just said. It's not just a film business situation. Again, this podcast, as owners of production companies, and we work in film majority of the time, but a lot of time in real estate and other ventures. We have friends that own restaurants and companies. This is affecting everybody on any scale. So anybody that's following their dreams as an entrepreneur is getting affected by what's going on in the world today. Because again, you're not making more money, but you're spending a lot more money.
So there's no middle class anymore. In any business, in this world, there is no middle class, either the rich or the poor. And that's happening also now, finally, in our industry, where we're noticing that as well. The independent filmmakers, at the same time, we're able to get our films around the world. We're also getting paid less. So I'm happy to the streaming avenues that they're giving us. This is very grateful for that. But to just be compensated fairly for our creations, it's all.
Yeah, and if we're not, we have to adapt and figure it out. I mean, that's a scare, right? That's part of following your dreams and being an entrepreneur.
Well, how's that saying go? It's not the strongest of the species that survives. It's the most adaptable to change.
You're 100% right. You have to be able to adapt, and that's the scary part, because no one, every one of us is following our dreams out there. No one's giving us a blueprint in the morning of how to do it. You have to wake up and figure it out. You have to figure, well, now today I lost money. How do I figure out how to make money? You may lose money for months and months and years on end. and keep working towards a goal, and you have to have that conviction to keep moving forward. Very scary thing when you're looking at a lot of the red. And
well, it was a rude awakening that day when I came over. I thought you said 8 cents per view, and I thought we'd made some substantial money. But when we talk about 1/8 of a cent or something like that, very low, how can you continue to create?
That was quite disappointing to see that. And again, if the numbers were where they used to be, that particular production would have made, that I think in its first few months, quarter release, we would have almost recouped everything,
which would have been nice.
Which would have been good. And we made some money on it, but it really didn't make anything. Technically, we made less than the money that was put into it. So money was made, but at the end of the day, you're still losing. You're still negative, and that's the scary part, that you're going into the negative. And it doesn't matter how good you do, because I think that was one of the top streamed films. The numbers are really good, but it doesn't matter if it's not adding up.
Yeah, so maybe you got enough money or resources to do maybe the second or third film, but then you're done if the return isn't coming in.
That's what you have to think about. You have to think about long-term survival as a company, and it's difficult. Now, again, if you try to do a one-and-done film, and that's what you want to do, that's fantastic too. And it is always, you have to always think about your career as a term of, am I trying to run a production business? Do I want to be a director and put everything on the line and then get hired somewhere else? Do I want to write a script? So there's a lot of different kind of thought process, right? If you have the financial backing personally to say, you know what, I'm going to go put $200,000 of my own money in this. I didn't go to film school. I'm going to spend my money on making my first movie, and it doesn't matter if it makes his money back. I'm going to show that I can be the next Tarantino. Then by all means, go do that. But your agenda was, if it makes money, great, but you're trying to showcase your work. So you're basically taking that hit to showcase that, yes, I can make more money later. So I always say this to anybody. We talked to an investor the other week.
Yes.
We said, well, why are you choosing to break into the film business? Do you find this as a really good financial investment? Because that's not correct. So think about that. We're very honest with them. But if you're looking to make yourself potentially an actor, or you want to be a writer and you're trying to break in and learn about the business, or you love just being around it, well, then maybe there's a number that, you spend $100,000 a year on vacation, and that's fun to you. Well, then you may be willing to spend that kind of money to just have fun in the business.
Yeah, what are you willing to lose?
What are you willing to lose, and what are you willing to put into it? I use it a lot. What do you go on vacation?
Yes.
Are you willing to spend this money, and would you be happy if nothing came back? Would you get something out of it if you didn't make money? And that's how I would always advise anybody getting
full disclosure is you have to be.
You have to be. And be very upfront. Tax write-offs, there's a lot of ways you can get things back. And you always could make money, but it will not be as fast as people think, especially in the indie world. Nobody is rushing, no matter how much you think your film is brilliant. And there's always outliers. So, and a lot of the streamers, these deals, if you get an exclusive, if you have a horror film, you have great places like Shudder and a lot of great places. They're great platforms. But, they're not paying $500,000 to get streaming rights to your film as an exclusive. So you just have to know what they're getting involved in. But I don't think there's enough understanding how distribution works. And that's the issue right now. So, but yeah, on all that negative stuff going on in the business, there's a lot of positive stuff going on too.
Positives. I mean, including this podcast, and you're talking about the ways to figure it out. You're in a situation, okay, we're not making money here. We still want to make films. What do we do in the interim? There's a SAG strike. We get a podcast going on. We get to talk about books and other things that we're doing, other intellectual properties that we're releasing at this point. And then hopefully full circle bring it back to the filmmaking, which we're both passionate.
Yeah, and it's great to see people embracing the cinema again. I mean, you go out to your local movie theater, you see people dressed in pink, you see people dressed in hats, people are supporting Oppenheimer, supporting Barbie. It's actually great to see people have the ability to spend the day in the cinema like they used to. Kids get dropped off or go with their families, or, not kids see Oppenheimer, maybe they do. But again, people go with their families. You can sit there all day. You can watch 2 great movies back to back. You get your popcorn, you go again, and you get more, and you have a nice, your drinks, and you watch, and you enjoy yourself. And it's really nice to see people enjoying the cinema as a place of all day entertainment again, and people getting dressed up. That's a beauty to see that.
It's I mean, even for someone, I like to go to movies all the time.
Yeah.
I've seen Barbie and I've seen Oppenheimer. So I love that cinema's coming back in that respect.
Yeah.
But the content is I think more variety, because I was actually waiting for a good movie to come out, and finally now we have some movies that came out. But I was for a while kind of searching and seeking for something to come out. There wasn't enough content except for now. We have a few that came out.
I think we're
Indiana Jones,
yeah.
But they're all remakes too.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard great things about Barbie. I'm very excited to see it. And recently saw the Mission Impossible film. That was a lot
Mission
of fun.
Impossible.
And, Tom Cruise always does a great job
Yes.
with everything he does. And it's great to just see back-to-back movies coming out that people want to see again, especially after the pandemic. People didn't know where the theaters are going to go. A lot of people thought they were going to go under. So it's great to see the theater coming back. And it's such a, that movie experience you cannot get anywhere else. Even when you see your own independent film.
Oh, I love the big screen.
In a theater. It just has, it plays better. It sounds better. It feels epic. Every moment of, even a smaller film was great on camera.
Oh, yeah. We did Independence on some big screens there. Very nice.
So I think we're going to have to wrap this one up, at least for now, to let one of our coworkers knocking on the door in. We have a storm coming. So as always, we like to thank everybody for listening. As always, this is the Live Your Dreams podcast. My name is Joe Gawalis. I'm your host here with Chris Victor. And as always, follow your dreams, live them well. And remember, it's dreamers that make the future. And we are the dreamers. So
yes.
Everybody go out there and then live them well.
Figure it out.
All right. Thanks, everybody.